Hi, I'm Teresa from Phoenix Cake Crafts, and today I am talking about choosing an interchangeable needle set. So this actually has two parts to it. The first part I'm going to be pretty quick about, and that's how to choose a set. It's fairly straightforward, and I already have another video talking about one of the core concepts, so I'm going to go through that pretty quickly. Then there's also the question of, should I get an interchangeable needle set? And that's a little bit more complex because there's a lot more factors that go into it. So let's start talking about how to choose a needle set. So let's talk about factors to look for in your interchangeable needle set. So the first factor you look at when choosing any needle set is what material are your tips? And I actually have that in another video that I will put a link to in the description. And long story short, wood, metal, plastic. Which one do you like better? If it's a choice between wood and metal, metal's good for you if you are a tight knitter, and wood needle is good for you if you're a loose knitter. And most people choose needles based on the project that they're doing at the time. So that's the material of your needle tips. You also want to consider the pointiness of your needle tips as well as the length of the tips, because circular needles have a tip as well as a cord, and they are typically measured tip to tip. But interchangeable circular needles are the length of the cord plus the lengths of the combined tips. So for example, this is a 3-inch tip. I've got two of them, that's 6 inches, plus the 8-inch cord. 6 plus 8 is 14. I have a 14-inch cord right here. Technically an 11-inch cord because I didn't stick on the other needle. I'm using this later for an explanation. I didn't need both. Now, this is an atypical interchangeable needle. This is a specific set called a shorty set where they have 2-inch and 3-inch tips. However, ChiaoGoo has their regular sets where you can choose between a 4-inch tip and a 5-inch tip. And quite frankly, I have the 5-inch tips, and sometimes I feel they're a little bit long, but some people feel a little bit more comfort having a little bit more sticking out the side of their hand. But sometimes I find the extra inch on each tip to be a little bit extra cumbersome. So it's up to you what length tip you want. Different sets have different lengths, definitely something worth looking into. You also want to notice the joins. So that's where the cord connects with the tip. Without a tip, it looks like this. See, I told you I'd need this without a tip at some point. Now there's two typical types of joints. There's the kind where you just stick the two ends together, they click in. I get nervous with those. I had a very cheap plastic set that clicked in, and it was very easy to click them in, and as a result it was very easy to click them apart. So maybe not something you want. The more expensive brands though, I believe Addy clicks are the type that click together, and people absolutely love those. So don't discount them just because I don't like them. If that's something that fits you, go for it. But just be aware that there is a potential drawback. This, however, is a twist cord, and this is the other major type that you can find. So what you do is with this you get usually a T-pin. Voila, T-pin, just like you use for blocking. And the cord usually has a little hole that you can stick the T-pin into. Oops. Voila. And what you do is you twist. I already had these attached, so I'm untwisting at the moment. And you basically use the T-pin for leverage. And what you do is you twist them, you put them in. I am blind. I need, here we go. You put them in and you twist, And then when you get to the end where you can naturally twist, you use this for leverage to really jam it in. And once you've done that, you can't just untwist that. See, I am twisting and it is twisting in my hand. See that blue cord just kind of swinging around there? That's not coming undone. The T-pin is called a key. That's the secret. And you don't turn the key like you normally do a key. It is for leverage. You use it this way, not this way. Some people have a lot of difficulty with that. Some of it is valid. Sometimes there are defective parts. And some people just don't like it. Some people claim that no matter how hard they torque it, they can't get these to stay in which case, for you, I highly suggest the kind that you click in. The last thing you want to consider is the cord. Now, the reason I love ChiaoGoo is that these cords have no memory. You can twist them, you can hold them, you can really get them loopy-looped up like this and have them here for forever. And then you get them out and they come back to a nice, comfortable curve. Different brands have different cords. This is what attracted me to ChiaoGoo specifically, but different brands have equally good cords. Addy has good cords, Leica has good cords. So I really highly recommend that you do your research before purchasing an interchangeable knitting set. Very Pink Knits has done a whole bunch of review videos on a whole bunch of different interchangeable knitting sets. I'm going to post links to a bunch of those videos down below. Unfortunately, she doesn't have a convenient playlist for this, but I'll link as many of the videos as I can find in the description box so that way you can watch them, because that's exactly what I did to find my ChiaoGoo set, because it has all the qualities that I really like. And just so you know, the qualities I like for ChiaoGoo is they aren't too pointy, but they're still pointy. They're stainless steel, so between being metal and high quality, high strength metal, they don't show any wear and tear. And I love the joins and the lack of memory in the cord. So this is a convergence of factors that I liked in this set, and I want you to find the set that works best for you. At this point, you might be asking, but Teresa, you paid $85 when a single set of 16-inch circulars costs usually around $12, usually between $11 and $13 for ChiaoGoo as well. Yes, I did. So let's talk about that, because it is quite an investment and you have to decide if that investment is right for you. And I'm going to say right now, I'm going to use ChiaoGoo as an example because I'm familiar with ChiaoGoo. ChiaoGoo are expensive. This is the high-end set. You don't have to buy a high-end set. Knit Picks has a perfectly workable set of sets. I mean, they have more than one set. They typically range between about $45 and $55. Plus you can get them on sale. So it might be more worth it for you to buy a less expensive set. But there is a definite cost-benefit analysis to be had in whether or not you choose to fork out the money for a set. So let's start with the question of what do you get with a typical set? I'm not doing that with this set just because it's so small. Though I love this color, it's blue, it's my favorite color. But I'm going to talk about the full set. This set cost me, I think, $120 in 2018. I actually purchased it along with this set, and together they cost about $200. But this is the full set. This is the biggest set that ChiaoGoo sells. If you want the bamboo set, they're called the spins. This is ChiaoGoo twists. The spins have the green ribbon, the twists have the red ribbon. But other than the material of the needles, what you get in the set, regardless of what it is, if it's this one, or this one pretty much is all the same, and most other brands are going to have a similar collection of items that they put in their sets. There might be a little bit of difference with the notions, but usually not very much difference. So first of all, it comes in a nice, neat, organized case. And this case has a front pocket, which is probably its least organized feature, but it has a bunch of stuff in it. So it has a ruler that is also a gauge. It also has stitch markers. These are color-coded by size, and they are the kind that you put on your needle. Some of them are going to have the locking stitch markers that look like safety pins. Some of them have the loopy spirals. You know, you get different ones. Sometimes you also get darning needles with your set. ChiaoGoo didn't come with any of those. Right here, I've got the full set. So that actually comes with two different sizes of needle joins. A smaller size for the US 2 through the US 8, and then a larger size for the US 9 through the US 15. It is a very complete and comprehensive set. But because it's got two different join sizes, it's got two different sets of cords. Each set of cords comes with 3 cords. I did purchase a few extras, but they come with 14-inch, 22-inch, and 30-inch cords. A set of 3 in here and a set of 3 in here. You also get this bag, which has a bunch of interesting things. These little white and black doodads are screw-in end caps. So basically, if you are ever in a situation where you need your needles for something else, you can unscrew your needles and screw on one of these end caps so all your stitches stay live on the cord. Because of this, the cords can also be used as stitch holders if you need to separate the sleeves in a raglan sweater or something. They're screw on and they screw straight into the ends of your cords, and it comes in 2 sizes. The little ones are for the smaller cords and the black ones are for the larger join cords. You also get a couple of T-pin / keys so you can screw in and unscrew your needle tips. You also get a couple of these little connector things. These are designed so you can connect the ends of 2 different sized cords together. So this is a large one, so you could connect 2 large cords, and there's also a smaller one so you can connect 2 different size small cords. If you go ahead and purchase an extra one of these in the size that you need, either small or large, you can actually connect all 3 of the cords with you. And I figured it out. If you've got the 5-inch tips, so you get 2 5-inch tips, which equals 10 inches, plus the 14-inch, plus the 22-inch, plus the 30 inches, all totaled, that is 76 inches. You can make a king-size blanket with this set. That's pretty cool. And just in case you're not familiar with inches, 180 centimeters is 6 feet, which is 72 inches. So this is 4 inches on top of that. You can make a 10-foot blanket on that. But if you don't mind scrunching your stitches a little bit, just so you know. And I'm putting all that back into this handy dandy pouch. And that's just the icing on the cake, because inside are needles. And you get 1 in each size. There's also little additional pockets for if there's a particular size of needle that you use a lot. Like I use 4 millimeters an awful lot. So I got an extra pair of 4-inch needle tips. That's a lot of needles. I have literally every size I need. And this is very handy with a lot of projects, particularly sweaters. So, for example, let's say you're making the flax sweater. Flax sweater is the basic free sweater pattern by Tin Can Knits. An excellent first sweater pattern, if I do say so myself. It was my second sweater pattern. I did their Mountain Mist first, but either way, both sweaters require the same needles. They require that you have 16-inch circulars in both 4 millimeters and 5 millimeter tips. They also recommend getting 24-inch or longer, depending on the size you're making, needles, also in 4 millimeter and 5 millimeter gauge. You might also want DPNs in 4 millimeter and 5 millimeter needles. So that is 6 sets of needles. Now, if you're not doing the DPNs, you can do 9-inch circulars in both of those sizes. I don't recall if they actually require DPNs or 9-inch circulars. I just like using those on the sleeves because you get pretty narrow around the wrist, and having smaller circumferences make it go a lot easier than magic looping when you're moving an entire sweater around. But regardless, that's at least 4 needles. Or if you're doing my recommendation, that's 6 sets of needles. That's a lot of needles. You know, most circulars are between $10 and $13. Let's say 12, because most longer circulars are closer to 12, and the 9-inch circulars are usually closer to $10 a pop. So that can get pretty pricey if, you know, you're getting these, let's say you just get 4 sets, and then you're making a scarf that requires a US 7, which is 4.5 millimeters. And then heaven help you, you're making a hat and you're just not getting gauge, and you need a US 9, which is 5.5 millimeters. Or you're making a scarf in fingering weight yarn and you need 3 millimeters. So it just gets to this point where you just start collecting needles. And eventually you start knowing what kind of needles you like, and you typically find a brand that you really, really like, and you just start buying needles of that brand. Or you can buy that brand's interchangeable set. Let's use this set as an example. Please do excuse the fact that this needle is already out of the set. But this set comes with pretty much everything that came with the other set, just appropriately sized for this set. Shorter cords, basically. But this is how many needle tips it comes in. It has 5 different sizes. It has 2-inch tips and 3-inch tips. And it has the 3 cords plus all the other stuff. I calculated it out. And with all the various combinations of tips and cords that you can possibly have, you have 46 potential needle sizes you can do. Now, I used this set to make my husband's side of the family hats for Christmas. I used the Year of Hats free patterns. They're free on Ravelry, as well as I think Knit Picks. And you're supposed to use Kelborn yarns on them. I didn't use the yarn, I subbed because I always sub, but the different hats required different needle sizes. And I chose hat patterns based on the birth month of the recipients. And I wound up needing 16-inch circulars in all 5 needle sizes. And I can make perfect 16-inch circulars by combining the 5-inch cord, the 6-inch cord, the 2-inch needle, and the 3-inch needle. Because 2 plus 3 is 5, plus the 5-inch cord is 10, plus the 6-inch cord is 16 inches perfectly. Also, typically when you're using 16-inch circulars for hats, you usually need to switch to another size needles, usually DPNs. But you could also switch to a 9-inch circular for a little bit And then when it gets too small even for that, you can switch to either DPNs or combine all 3 cord lengths with both 3-inch needle tips to get a 25-inch cord that you can then magic loop. So you can conceivably do hats with only this set, or you can purchase 2 sets of needles. So you could get the 16-inch cords and the DPNs. So let's price that out a little bit. Most 16-inch circulars for ChiaoGoo are between $11 and $13. So let's average that out at $12 a pop. 12 times 5 is 60. But then you have to get the DPNs, which typically cost $8 to $10. So let's say you find them on a really good deal and they're $8 a piece. 8 times 5 is 40. $60 for the circs plus $40 for the DPNs is $100. These cost me $85. I mean, technically it was like 83 something, but let's round it up to $85 because it's nice, even, easy math. And to top it off, I also made my husband a sweater. So I wound up using 2 of these sizes in 9-inch circulars for the sleeves. So it's really paid off having these. It saved me quite a bit of money. Now, $85 is still very expensive. And even if you're getting a less expensive brand, such as Knit Picks, you might not be able to afford that right now. And I'm gonna tell you something, you don't have to. I like them, they fit my knitting style very well, but you can only afford what you can afford. And if what you can afford is occasionally getting a set of needles that goes with the pattern you're making, then hun, that's legit. Don't worry. You do not have to purchase this. You don't have to purchase ChiaoGoo. You purchase the set you can afford. If it's a choice between the set you can afford now and saving up for a higher quality set, I would save up for the higher quality set because, quite frankly, these ChiaoGoo sets, unless there's another ChiaoGoo set that comes out, these are the last needles that I think I'm ever going to need to buy. I have literally every size that I need. But that isn't the situation everybody is in. Not to mention, not everybody's going to like interchangeable needles. It doesn't work for every single person. So if you're somebody who likes straight knitting needles, if you only like fixed circulars, or if you have a distinct preference for DPNs, then hey, that is cool and you do you. Stick with what works for you. But if you are considering an interchangeable set, I do hope that this helped you with that decision. Check out the different videos I've linked down below to hopefully find a set that fits your needs perfectly, as well as the ChiaoGoo fits mine. And regardless of your decision, happy crafting. Bye.